Boom! Welcome back to the Sebs Show, everybody. It's your boy Sebs, and today I'm introducing my new co-host, David Gibson, the King. Gib, tell everybody what's up.
What up, guys?
This
First
is
time being on the show.
Yep, and many more to come. Gib's gonna be my new co-host, guys. Gonna help break down all the fights. We don't have Gib betting yet, so we're gonna have to let him know about odds and whatnot. But he does know how to break down a motherfucking fight. So let's get to breaking down these fights. We're gonna start off first, Gib, with where's my controller? Right here. We're gonna start off first with Eamon Zahabi, the brother of Firas Zahabi. He's 7-0. And he's taking on Ricardo Ramos. The line on this is minus right now. Actually increased over the last little bit. Some places it's up to minus 180. But mostly it's 165, and you can get Zahabi for plus 145 right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so like my thoughts on it quickly are Ricardo Ramos, obviously found on that Dana White Looking for a Fight show with Nick the Tooth and Matt Serra. Long, lanky guy, good striking. Always brings the fight, brings a high pace as well. He's got some good clinch work against the cage, something I like. Likes to throw his knees. His jiu-jitsu is just spectacular. Very, very slick jiu-jitsu. Other than that, man, he's going against an Eamon Zahabi here, who's undefeated. Coming off a victory of Reginaldo Vieira, who he honestly didn't look all that good. I thought there was times where Reginaldo, kept him at bay and had him a little scared. What do you think there?
Well, he had quite a few problems in the second round, I believe.
Yeah.
Which probably started that decision, and he really couldn't finish. Might have been scared about the knockout. Might have been trying to stay a little more technical until the very end, but he pulled off the win. Which is great for him, and he's moving on. He's still got a 7-0 record intact, right?
Yeah, and something else that I saw in that fight is he was a little hesitant after he got hit a little bit by Reginaldo. He got a little hesitant to throw shots. It was like he was fearful. I don't know if it was him being in his first UFC fight or whatnot, but he does obviously have a great corner behind him with his brother Firas. Ricardo Ramos honestly looked very good in his UFC debut as well against, I think he fought a Michinori Tanaka.
Korean Zombie as well.
Yeah, and Ricardo Ramos is just, I'm leaning with him here. No bet, but this guy's dangerous. He's dangerous on the ground. He's dangerous on the feet. I think he's gonna have the reach advantage for sure, obviously, and then. It's one thing to have it, and then it's one thing to know how to utilize it. And Ricardo Ramos looks like he knows how to utilize it.
Oh yeah.
And very slick with his long limbs, like I said, against the floor. So I'm honestly gonna side a little bit with Ricardo Ramos in this pick. I think he sides out a decision over Eamon Zahabi here. How about you, Gib?
I gotta agree with you on that. Even though he did lose to Manny Vasquez before the Dana White fight episode.
Yeah.
I think that might have been just due to the right guy at the right time. Bit of a style difference as well.
Yeah.
He's really good in dangerous positions, and he's even better in advantageous positions. Super relaxed in his jiu-jitsu, very confident in it. A lot of his interviews that he does take, he's got the gi on, very straightforward. Again, Zahabi, it looks like he's having a bit of trouble, but I mean, he could melt into his own in this fight. I'm taking Ramos as well, but it'll be interesting to see another Canadian boy go at it. And he's searching for a win. Obviously, these guys aren't here to lose. So
for sure, man. And next up, we got Eamon the Hulk Cutelaba at, I believe he's like at minus 500 right now. Let me check that. Yeah, he's minus 510. Taking on Michael, I can't say his last name correctly, Oleksiejczuk, and he's plus 405. So big favorite here, Eamon Cutelaba, to get the job done. Just quickly on him, he's has 12 years of Greco-Roman wrestling. A lot of people don't know that about him. He's actually a very good grappler, doesn't show it off in his fights as much as he likes to strike more. You guys saw in that fight against Cannonier, that was a fucking war. And then just even in his most recent fights against, I know Enrique's a little bit of a jobber there, but against Enrique de Silva, it literally knocked him out in fucking 20 seconds, 22 seconds. Looked great doing it, and he's just got some great cardio and pace. He's got some really good boxing.
It was a toss-up fight for him.
Yeah, it was 100%, and this fight I think favors him a little bit more because this guy's coming in his UFC debut. Expect him to have the jitters. He's coming in on short notice, which is always hard to come in on short notice, Gib. You never know how your cardio is gonna stack up, and especially going against the Hulk. The Hulk can go hard for 3 rounds.
Yeah,
we've seen it against Cannonier. We've seen it against a lot of guys. His most recent win though, we saw him knock like I said, Frankenstein out in 22 seconds. So we know the power's there too if he wants to end this early. Like I was saying, he's got some great cardio and pace. I really like the way he sets the pace, and he doesn't stop. Lots of forward pressure, always coming at you.
Yeah.
Dropping bombs works the body really well. Works the head. Great combos. I think there's a slim chance of him losing this fight. I really like him in this fight. It looks like Oleksiejczuk in the little tape that I have watched in him. He likes to spam a lot of left uppercuts.
Yeah.
Leaves himself very wide open. He got cracked a couple times in the fight I did watch, or the 2 fights I did watch. He was cracked multiple times. And if you're getting cracked, and he looks like he's a 185er, man. And if you're getting cracked by a big 205er like the Hulk here,
it can end you.
You're going fucking to sleep, kid. You're going to sleep, man. It's not gonna end well for you.
The one thing you'll find, especially I guess more and more as we do this, I am a huge underdog guy. I love picking the guy who's supposed to be there to not do very well, or maybe get kicked out in 2 fights. And I don't mind the Lord. Obviously, it's very easy to get a good highlight reel on YouTube, and he does have one. But I think that he might come in with a bit of a weird style that Cutelaba might not understand, and those guys tend to be a bit of sleepers. He does have 2 losses, one by submission, one by TKO. So you're right. I'm sure he eats a lot of big shots, and it just means you need to take the right one. And at 205, he could go down, but I think maybe Lord might pull this one off and show why he's in the UFC, and show why maybe this last minute fight is something that he prepared for a little more than most people think.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. He might be a little come in with little funky style that Eamon hasn't seen. He comes in and spams a lot of punches. Eamon's not used except maybe in the Cannonier fight, to somebody with that kind of pressure that will and we didn't see that bode very well for him in the Cannonier fight. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. My picks, Eamon. You got the Lord here.
Oh yeah.
That's a funky name he has, the Lord. What a loser. But
I mean, sometimes you can't pick your nickname, right? You just get it.
Michael Lord. I wonder how you say it though. Is it Lord Michael? That would make more sense. Like,
Michael the Lord.
Michael the Lord, possibly. But like,
or the Lord Michael.
I like
what I mean?
I like Lord Michael because like it's like he's
a
like
a king. Quest.
It's like he's like a king. A Tribe Called Quest. That's it. Yeah. So my pick's the Hulk. You got Michael here. All right. So next up we got Curtis Blaydes taking on Alexei Oleinik. I know this is a fight you're ready to jump at. Really went down the rabbit hole you're telling me with Alexei Oleinik, and I'm a big fan of Curtis Blaydes, honestly. I thought initially his loss against Ngannou, he showed this guy showed a great chin, man. He was getting bombs from Ngannou. There was times that in that fight where Ngannou was cracking really, really hard, and it didn't seem like he was phased at all by the punches. He kept pressing forward. He actually took down Ngannou a couple of times too.
Mm-hmm.
He's an outstanding wrestler. Outstanding wrestler.
You think Ngannou was maybe a little bit too much for him too soon?
Yeah, and he was actually a favorite in that fight, but like you said, Ngannou was too much too soon. Nobody knew. I think it might have been Ngannou's first fight, if not his second. So they were both on like their UFC debut, and like seeing somebody like Ngannou on your UFC debut that you don't know too much about, that is something scary.
I mean, you think that Alexei's 52 fights is a bit of a same thing, too much too soon, or do you think he can kind of bring this one out? I mean, I know I've seen a bit of his wrestling, and I think that it's very successful, and I can see why he gets lots of good takedowns. I can see why he's a bit of a gamer, really, when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What I think is like pretty much like, well, obviously Alexei is one of the strongest like fucking motherfucking Russians I've ever seen in my life. This guy's just a Russian savage, and pulls submissions off literally anywhere. If you watch his submission on Travis Brown, it was beautiful.
That was awesome.
It was like a head compression submission, and then he got the Ezekiel choke on Victor Pesta the time before. He actually has 10 Ezekiel chokes, which is almost impossible to do in MMA, especially like
you really need the key to pull it off.
To pull it off properly, you know, or you gotta be fucking super strong. Other than that, I think Curtis Blaydes though is gonna bring a kind of pressure that Olynyk's not used to. Olynyk's not that good on the feet. I think Curtis Blaydes is way more technical boxer, has the stronger hands and whatnot. And I think his most recent wins, I know they're over guys like who is, sorry, now I gotta go check. He was like a huge favorite in the Omolanchuk fight, and he was like a minus 800 or something. And he didn't perform to the best of his abilities, but he did get the job done. And then before that, was Adam Milstead, I think, or that might have been even before that one. But that Adam Milstead fight, I know Adam Milstead's a little bit of a smaller heavyweight, but man, the way he tossed him around was just, he ragdolled him. Like, he literally ragdolled him.
Wrestlers really can do that once they find their groove and they really know where to go. If you're small and you just don't know how to defend properly, you're going to get thrown all around, like you said. We saw Henderson get thrown around by DC just constantly in that one fight.
Yeah, you're right.
Once you're playing the game and once you're you're on a good roll.
Yeah. And he times his takedowns very well. That's something else I like. I really hope he doesn't go to the ground here.
No.
I think if he does, it's hot lava for him. This guy, the bull constrictor Olynyk, he can literally catch you from any place, and his takedowns aren't that good, Olynyk, but they're pretty sloppy, but he does make them work at times, which I do like, and he gets them from very weird angles against the cage and whatnot, already set up in like Ezekiel chokes and like different kind of chokes he'll try and take you down in. And something else, like you said, man, this is a guy who has 63 fights in total right now, you know?
Yeah.
You don't get 63 fights, like nothing, and you haven't seen somebody like Razor Blade, so I'm sure he's seen a wrestler before.
I think he's one of the most enjoyable fighters to watch, and I didn't really know very much about him when I went into this, and I became a pretty big fan pretty fast. Big fan of his Krokop fight, if a lot of people have seen that. Beats him by submission, and it was like two bears wrestling in their stand-up, and by the time we went to the ground, Alexei got him, and it was a great fight. Great fight. Both around the same age, too, so...
Yeah. So it was a little fair there.
Oh, yeah.
And Olynyk caught him there. That was a good match down the rabbit hole if you want to go check that one out.
Oh, yeah.
After you told me about it, I have to go check that out for sure. But, yeah, guys, I got Curtis Razor Blaydes here. I think he gets the job done. Passing from a betting perspective, I think I took him in the long shot parlay. Yeah, I took him in the long shot parlay, the 0.5 long shot parlay. It's I took like 10 guys.
Nice.
Or 10, it's just a 10 leg parlay. But I did take Curtis Razor Blaydes in it. And who do you have?
Well, I agree on paper, probably Curtis Blaydes, but I'm such a big fan of this guy right now, and I still will continue to be. So I'm going for Alexei. He seems to be the grizzled veteran in this, and I mean we have a lot of grizzled veterans in this card as well. Hendricks, Bisping, St. Pierre. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
At least in terms of the amount of fights, in terms of style differences as well.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think if Razor Blaydes keeps us on the feet, he'll enjoy the striking battle here, and he'll get the job done. But yeah, I can see why I'm passing, and I can see your point of view with Olynyk there, man. So next up is a fight I actually have a lot invested in. It's Randy Brown, Randy Rude Boy Brown versus Mickey Gall. Both these guys, Mickey Gall's from New Jersey, Randy Brown's from Queens, New York. Both fighting in New York here at MSG. Yeah, we have my dog guys trying to make an appearance on the camera right now. What do you want, Jack? But yeah, we got Randy Brown. There's no room for you up here, Jackson. I'm sorry, sir. Sorry.
Sorry, bud.
Sorry, bud. We're doing the podcast right now. Okay, but we got Randy Rude Boy Brown here taking on Mickey Gall. And man, Randy Brown is he's already got 5 fights in the UFC. Last fight against
Pretty good.
Yeah.
For a kind of low fight career.
Yeah, he's 9-2. So he's already experienced that first loss, which is something that I like. When here's Jackson trying to jump up here. There's no room for you, Jack. And look, he's on the camera. That's a joke.
He's making a guest appearance.
Yeah, he's making a guest appearance.
First time or what?
Yeah, that's his
first time on the show.
First time on the show for Jackson. That's true. I'm just buzzing out off him. But yeah, alright. So back to Randy Rude Boy Brown here. I think if he keeps us standing, Mickey's gonna have some problems. If he walks that fight against Sage Northfield with Mickey Gall, like Mickey Gall right now has only fought trash cans. He's fought Mike Jackson, who has the same job as me. He has the same job as me. He's a journalist for I don't even know what fucking promotion. But he's a journalist, so boom, already you fought Mike Jackson, who came in 0-0, and
well, now we can't forget CM Punk. I mean, that was probably one of the
that's what I was going next, and
one of the highest level competitions, arguably that he's had.
Oh my goodness, like the competition of CM Punk is just like no other. That's a future champion right there. But not to be serious, then he fought CM fucking Punk, man. Who arguably there's probably 75% of the gym that we train at can take CM Punk, I'm sure. Yeah. I think so.
I think a lot of the older guys would be able to
probably
out-grapple him.
They would manhandle him.
And if that's the only thing you can do, I mean, if you're in the UFC and you're a one-trick pony, like, you're not going to work.
He doesn't even have a trick.
I mean, his apparently jiu-jitsu and grappling is okay, and if you go into his wrestling, in terms of pro wrestling, there is some catch that you do learn.
Yeah, you do learn some catch wrestling.
Believe it or not, a lot of wrestlers do a lot of grappling.
Yes, like Josh Barnett, he does a lot of pro wrestling.
I think the first thing, one of the very few things that GSP learned was catch wrestling when he first started by guys who were trained to be pro wrestlers at the time. And it's something surprising, and it's definitely something that you have to mix in with strikes, but I remember Mickey Gall was saying in the interview in the lead up to the fight that it does take your body at least 7 years to get used to striking, to get used to this type of environment. And, I mean, time is the last thing that this guy has. And obviously.
And it hasn't been 7 years for sure.
Definitely not. I mean, if you're taking fake punches, they're just not the same.
So
or a Ric Flair slap across the chest.
Exactly. So let's go over it. So Mickey Gall beat CM Punk, and he beat Mike Jackson. So an actor and a journalist. Then he beat Sage Northcutt, and that Sage Northcutt fight, let me just break that one down real quick. Sage at the beginning was actually outpointing him. getting the better of him on the feet. Every time Mickey Gall throws a punch, he comes in with a looping right hand, a very looping wild hook, and then he comes in, and if he doesn't land the hook on your chin, he's trying to take you down. And he tried that several times on Sage, and Sage was getting the better of him. Sage actually clipped him in the back of the head, he lost some of his equilibrium there, and he got off balance, boom, dropped to the floor momentarily, got back up, ultimately knocks out Sage Northcutt, who we know is not the guy that was that Dana White thought he was.
It's definitely not advertised.
Yeah, as advertised.
As advertised.
Definitely
might have
not.
to get a receipt on that.
Yeah, fuck, I fucking hope so, man. But definitely, like Gibbs saying, is definitely the guy not as advertised. And Mickey Gall knocks him out with a right hand. Does knock him out, drops him, and then he goes into panic wrestling Sage against fucking Mickey Gall, who's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. He takes his back and he chokes him out. So in all 3 fights that we in 4 fights, we've never seen Mickey Gall go past the 7.5 minute mark, which is a big thing for me.
Yes.
Because if you've never felt 15 minutes, you're not prepared.
You haven't been in a real fight yet.
Yeah.
At least in the UFC, and the caliber opponent that he's going to fight
This is
in the
his.
weight class.
This is his debut. This is his.
And at 170, you're going to go into those later rounds very fast if you're going up the rankings as fast as you
Ask
are.
Randy Brown how it is, because he took Eric Montano into the 3rd round, where in a fight where he was potentially losing, and he actually ended up getting a Darce choke and syncing that one up and finishing him. I think it was in the 2nd or 3rd round. And Randy Brown, also in his last fight against Bilal Muhammad, no slouch on the feet. No slouch on the feet.
Not at all.
Looks very good on the feet, Gib. He looks dangerous. There's times where he's and his Muay Thai clinch is dangerous. He's 6'3". He has a huge reach advantage on most guys. Here he's gonna have only I think that's wrong. I think Mickey's 6'2". Wow, but yeah, Randy Brown 6'3". Like I was saying, he has a 4-inch reach advantage here, and he's gonna pop the jab out. He knows his striking's way better than Mickey's here, and he knows this is. He said, "I'm gonna play the anti-jits game." In the interview with James Lynch, he said, "I know how good Mickey's jits is. They've trained together before at Hensel Gracie's. They've trained together, so he knows how good his ground game is." He's like, "I'm not even gonna go there." He's like, "I'm playing the anti-jits game. I'm gonna outstrike this guy," and then hopefully that's what we see. And I'm very confident in it. I got 5 units on Randy Brown here at. I picked them up, Gib, at -128
I think that's a good pickup.
and -117 to win 3.97 units, man. So, like, I'm big on Randy Brown here. And right now, you can get him at -102 on Pinnacle, which is huge.
Well, unlike the last few fights, I kind of been opposite side, but I think I do have to take Randy Brown on this. He looks like a guy who can punch a hole right through Mickey Gall. His striking is super impressive.
Yeah.
He looks like he really shakes guys out of their game plans they, come in with. And, Mickey Gall come in, obviously trying to take you down, trying to use his jiu-jitsu on you. It's going to be very difficult against a guy who, 1, he's already rolled with, and 2, has a submission under his belt. So he knows that he could be a bit of a threat in the grapple, especially if you're getting knocked around a bit. You tend to lose a few stripes off your belt that way, right?
Yeah, so it looks like we're both going with Randy Brown here.
I've definitely taken Rude Boy, man. I've seen his skipping. I've seen a lot of his training. He looks super high level. Looks super sharp right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's
got the experience as well in the UFC.
Exactly.
Against,
he has the experience,
like you said, higher level guys.
And he's gone 3 rounds. He's gone 3 rounds against guys like Bilal Muhammad, who's no joke. Bilal Muhammad would absolutely terrorize Mickey Gall, especially on the feet. Never mind on the ground.
But you know what? A loss here could be pretty good for Mickey Gall going on to his next fight, especially to a guy who can go first.
Everyone needs to take their first loss. You need to take their first loss. And a guy who's 4-0 in the UFC, you don't see that much. He came into the UFC 1-0, really built up we're gonna see, I think, his first loss here, guys, and I'm very confident in it as I got 5 units on Randy Brown. Next up, we got Ovince St. Preux and Corey Overtime Anderson. And,
I really like this fight, actually.
I think it's a great fight, man. I'm passing from it as a betting perspective because I didn't know who's going to win. At times, I'm going back and forth. And to start off, I was like, oh, man, I was going to put big money on Ovince. I thought this was a complete mismatch before I did tape. And I was like, oh, Ovince has this, especially coming in being a southpaw on short notice. He's coming in on like 2 weeks notice, or 2 or 3 weeks notice here, maybe a little bit longer actually. But against Corey Anderson, who was going to take on Patrick Cummins, and overtime, something that I like. He's been training with obviously Mark Henry and those guys, Edson Barboza, Zabit Magomed Shapirov, Marlon Moraes, Frankie Edgar, all the killers there.
That's a huge count.
Yeah, and he trains at Ricardo Almeida's. He has a very good corner. I love Mark Henry trained fighters. Their movement, the way they're constantly moving, and striking in and out of range is something to be brilliant. It's just and Mark Henry in the corners is just a brilliant coach. And I think Corey Anderson, I believe, was, he a high level wrestler back in the day too. So I gotta go check exactly how high level he was. I think he was NCAA junior champ or something like that.
Well, I mean, Ovince St. Preux, deadly with both hands. He's a switch hitter. I really enjoy that. That's probably one of my favorite styles to have in the UFC. Even though it presents a little bit of problems, I think that Ovince has great ground game. I'm probably not going to shy away from Ovince. He's one of my favorite fighters in there. Corey Anderson, again, coming off that one Anderson fight, right?
Yeah.
And, being in the ring with a guy like that definitely puts you at a bit of a higher level, especially in the mind, right?
Well, that's 100%.
Especially going all those rounds with him.
And Ovince in his last fight, Corey Anderson in his last fight, he got knocked out by Jimmy Manawa. That was his last fight. So he's taken a long time off. It was a brutal knockout. He's taken a long time off. Before that, he looked great. He looked good against Sean O'Connell.
Yeah.
He looked very good. I think he times his takedowns very good, and he rides his opponents very good. Against Ovince, who's a guy who seems to gas a little bit hard when it starts to pick up in the second round, even when it's not just a grappling. And he's usually the better grappler.
Yeah.
In this case, he's not the better grappler. I think maybe jiu-jitsu-wise. But if we're going off pure grappling, I think Corey Anderson's probably the better grappler out of the two.
Really?
Yeah. I think Ovince is a dangerous grappler for
in terms of getting him to the ground, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, getting him to the ground. But Ovince might, on the ground, be a little bit more dangerous, obviously, with his submissions, Von Flue and whatnot.
Yeah.
But Ovince, like I was saying, he seems to gas against a guy like Corey Anderson that doesn't. His name's Overtime for a reason, man. He can go fucking hard rounds. He can go 5 rounds, hard rounds.
Yeah.
And Ovince, like I was saying, seems to gas against his last fight. Not much of a competition fight, was against Yushin Okami. Took him down. He took him down and actually pretty much just rode on top of him, went into a guillotine, top mount guillotine, switched it up to the Von Flue choke and put him to sleep. And before that, he got Marcos Rogero de Lima, put him to sleep, the Von Flue choke. And on his feet, he looks a little hesitant. We know he likes the left kick to the body, but I think Corey Anderson's movement's going to take that away a little bit. And, man, I got Corey Anderson in this fight. How about you?
Well, I said earlier over St. Preux, you know what? I'm not a matchmaker, but I think both of these guys lost to Jimmy Manawa. Could be a potential rematch of the winner of this one if Jimmy Manawa does not have a title contention next. I think Jimmy deserves it out of most guys there. I think he should get it. But if he doesn't, either of these guys, great fight.
Yeah, this is a good one for sure.
Let one of these guys get that win back.
So, I'm going with Corey Overtime Anderson. You're going with...
Yep, I got OSP on this.
You got OSP. And before we go, the odds on this one is minus 160 OSP, plus 140 Corey Anderson right now. So, Corey Anderson, the dog. Next up, we got Walt Harris versus Mark the Hand of Godbeer. And, man, tough fight. Initially, I had this fight on 216. I had 3 units on Walt Harris paired up with, I forgot who, but I parlayed him with someone, and I thought this was going to be a rather easy matchup for him. The more I looked into it, after the second time around, I was like, man, Godbeer might be a little bit of a live dog here. Harris seems to quit. We saw in the Sol Palai fight, or however you say his name, the Hawaiian guy. He just quit Walt Harris at the end of the second round. While he was mounted, he just quit while he was getting beat down. He quit in the Fabrice Verdum fight. Who knows if it's because they told him you're gonna fight Mark Godbeer the pay-per-view after if you go ahead and you don't get injured or anything, because Fabrice Verdum took him down super quick, mounted him armbar.
Again, might have been too much too soon.
Yeah.
It could have been a very big surprise for him. I'm sure he didn't know he was fighting.
Oh yeah,
I believe Derek Lewis was the original fight.
It was on the day. It was I believe they told him hours before the fight.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
Obviously he was ready, and I gotta give the clap to him to even go in on that.
Yeah.
Fabrizio Verdum fight.
Yeah,
because that
hours
could have made him on the win, and it was a dangerous fight for Fabrizio because he didn't train for it.
No harm, no foul there.
Absolutely.
Thought if he lost, like there's nothing wrong with that. It's Fabrizio Verdum. He was supposed to get the win there, 100%. But and then his fight against Cyril Asker, he looked rather good as well too. He's been looking good, man. I think Walt Harris, and against Chase Sherman, that the finish on Chase Sherman, he's brutal, man. But Mark Godbeer went to decision with Daniel Spitz his last time out. Not too impressive there. He's been known as not the most technical guy on the feet, but he possesses a lot of power. I'm gonna have to go with Walt Harris here, man. I think Walt Harris lights him up on the feet. I think I'm not sure how long this fight lasts. I was gonna play the under 1.5, but there's a little bit of stuff I like more than that. So yeah, I do like Walt Harris. I'll take him inside the distance, like 3rd round TKO or 2nd round TKO here. How about you?
I think this one was very close, like you said. Mark Godbeer, to me, he looks really good. I like his stand-up. I like his mix of kickboxing, boxing. And I believe he does have a few submissions under his belt. Not very many, obviously. But I think maybe it's a cause for the awkward style of mixing the kickboxing and the boxing, all that kind of MMA stuff in there. But I do think that he does have a pretty good advantage here. I'm going with Mark Godbeer here, and he could really do some damage here. Walt Harris, obviously being the super heavier guy, punch a hole through him. But I guess we'll have to see. This is definitely a closer one. I definitely picked this one on a coin flip though.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, and guys, just to go back real quick on Eamon Cutelaba, I do have 4 units on Eamon Cutelaba paired up with something later in the card. Just wanted to rephrase that real quick just in case. But yeah, next up we got James Vick versus Joe Duffy, a fight I know me and Gary are going to have fun talking about right now. James Vick, Executioner, coming in at plus 168 right now, and Joseph Duffy minus 195, in some spots minus 200. Irish Joe Duffy hasn't faced the stiffest competition in his UFC career. The stiffest competition we've seen him face was Dustin Poirier, which a fight he did end up losing. But other than that, In his UFC career, he's faced guys like Reza Medadi, not Tom McGuire. Tom McGuire was in Cage Warriors, but you get the point. He hasn't he hasn't faced the stiffest of competition. James Vick has faced more quality competitors. I think Marco Polo is a can, though, even though like a lot of guys will probably disagree with me there. I think he's a can, but and I don't even like to make fun of fighters or anything like that, but like he's not that good of a fighter. I think Marco Polo is compared to a guy like James Vick. James Vick is 7-1 in the UFC. His only loss, if we're talking straight up losses, was a knockout loss. He got knocked the fuck out by Beneil Dariush. And James Vick gets hit a lot, man. When he's standing up with you, his stand-up's improving. He's very dangerous on the ground. He's very dangerous on the ground. But it's
great kicks.
He's got some very nice front teep kicks. He's got some nice kicks, but he doesn't utilize his reach as well as he could. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage here, 5-inch height advantage, and I don't see him using that in this fight, man. He doesn't use it that well. I was initially leaning Vick beforehand, too, especially after his last fight against Blaydes. He looked top quality. Like I said, it was against Blaydes, but nevertheless, he looked top quality. But then, man, I saw more into tape study. His lead leg gets kicked a lot, so his leg gets fucked up.
You think that's because of the jiu-jitsu, though? Or more of a grappling game that you're trying to play?
I guess so.
Be a little bit heavier on the front.
And then he's a lot looking for, when you're going for the takedown, he's always looking for to snatch up a Durs or a guillotine or something. And he's good at it, man. He snatches up the Durs real quick, too. He's got some slick jiu-jitsu, long fucking limbs. But a guy like Beneil Dariush, I'm not saying he's anything like Joseph Duffy, but Joseph Duffy has way cleaner striking than Beneil Dariush, I think. I think he's a way more technical striker, if we're talking. A guy like Joseph Duffy, who's a professional boxer, was, I think, 7-0 in boxing professionally. Yeah. Not amateur boxing, professional boxing. And then 3-0 in kickboxing professionally as well. He's a black belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu. I think he's very decorated. Very decorated martial artist, man. Comes out of TriStar, trains with George St. Pierre and all those guys. And Frost Zahabi claims that this guy is kind of like George St. Pierre in the sense of he's just a straight martial artist. He comes in every day. He comes to train very hard, and he's very diligent with his training and whatnot. If you watch his fight against Reza Medadi, there's a point where Reza takes him down and he pulls off a nice sweep, and then he controls the Swedish national wrestler on the ground. And then you got Joe Duffy lighting him up on the feet, just absolutely throwing quick jabs, and I think he's going to be slightly quicker than James Vick if this stays on the feet. I think he's got the wrestling to obviously keep this on the feet as long as he wants, and he can take down James Vick if he wanted to. Even though we've never seen him take anybody down, I think Joseph Duffy, but if he wanted to, he probably could. Absolutely. James Vick only has one takedown in the UFC, I believe, as well. And that was against, I think, Polo Reyes, if not, maybe Glico Franca. Yeah, wasn't that nice of a takedown either. It was just he got underhooks and he took him down like that. But like I'm saying, I think James Vick doesn't use his reach enough, doesn't utilize it enough, and Joseph Duffy gets on the inside. And people are all saying James Vick has the slicker jiu-jitsu. I can see he has a slicker jiu-jitsu, but does he have the more technical jiu-jitsu? I don't know. And once it goes to the floor, I think Joseph Duffy actually has not the upper hand, but he can hold himself on the floor enough where he's not going to get submitted or anything like that. He knows what to do on the floor, and he's strong on the floor, ground and pound and everything. He's got some strong ground and pound, and he's got some strong submissions. This is a guy who I know he was young in his career, and I know Conor was young in his career, but this is a guy who submitted Conor McGregor.
Yeah. And do you think that Do you think that Joe Duffy's best move here is to keep the jiu-jitsu at a minimum and keep standing with him?
Yeah, keep it standing 100%. Box him up, light him up on the feet, work on the inside there, and just box him up, man. Just work on. We've seen guys light up James Vick before. We've seen Daniil Darush get on the inside and pressure him. It'd be nice to see Joe Duffy pressure him. I don't see him doing that. I see him laying back and just counter-striking a lot, or utilizing his kicks to get on on the inside instead of keeping it on at bay. And usually he utilizes a very well-timed knee. Both of them have very nice knees. But yeah, man, I think Joseph Duffy keeps us on the feet, and I think he ends up lighting up James Vick and gets a third-round knockout, if not 30-27 decision here.
Interesting.
What is your pick here?
I think I'm going to go with you on this and take Joe Duffy, but I would personally like to see a good jiu-jitsu match here. I'd love to see some great groundwork by both, and I can see it kind of going both ways if it does go to the ground because of that. I've seen James Vick's jiu-jitsu, and it's as good, if not close, to Joe Duffy's. And as you're saying, Joe Duffy getting that win over Conor McGregor. I mean, what do you think keeps him from being that top five? What do you think keeps him from being? Is it the trash talk? Is it the?
It has to be something, right? Because he's in
a weight class. What do you think?
It might be the weight class, but he's an elite. He's an elite striker, man. He knows how to throw proper punches, man. Not a lot of guys can throw beautiful punches like that guy. That guy throws beautiful punches when he's throwing bombs, and I think Joe Duffy here, like I was saying, lights him up. And you're saying what's stopping him? I don't know what's stopping him. Yeah, I have no idea.
Eddie Alvarez getting absolutely decimated in that one fight, but
yeah.
Joe Duffy looking absolutely amazing with a younger Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And I personally think a hungrier at that point in his career.
Finishing him
finishing almost anybody he came up against very fast.
And so I do have 4 units on Duffy at -176 to win 2.27 units, and 2.5 units over. I think this goes over 1.5 rounds. I don't know how that's a mark. The 7.5 minute mark is. I think this goes past 7.5 minutes for sure, and that's at -165 to win 1.51 units. But yeah, next up we got. Where's our next one? Johnny Hendricks. We hit the main card. Wow, we hit the main card. Johnny Big Rig Hendricks versus Paulo Borrachinha.
So I gotta ask first, what are the odds on this?
It's not as wide as you would think. When it came out, it was way, I thought it was going to be way wider than it was. So right now it's at -230 for Paulo Borrachinha. So he's like a 2-1 favorite, and Johnny Hendricks plus 190. So
kind of surprised it.
Yeah, I thought it would be a little bit wider. Is that what you're saying too?
Yeah. I would think it'd be at least over the 4s.
Yeah, for sure. Borrachinha is a fucking monster, and you guys can say what you want. Is this guy's only faced Gareth McKellen and fucking Bamboze, 2 guys, and Bamboze actually took him down. I know what everyone's saying. Oh, Eddie, Bamboze took him down. Bamboze did take him down. He got up right away, though. It doesn't matter. He got up right away, and that's if Hendricks is gonna win, he's gonna need to lay on top of him for 3 fucking rounds. Because as soon as Borrachinha gets a whiff, just a whiff of Johnny Hendricks is not going to be used to the kind of pressure that Borrachinha is going to bring. He's not going to be used to the kind of pressure. The amount of strikes he landed, look at that, 8.8 strikes landed per minute, significant strikes. He lands to the body with kicks, with punches, with devastating knees in the clinch, and he comes hard, man. And he's always pressuring forward, and he's always talking smack to you, telling you, let's go. He's smacking himself and stuff, saying, let's do this, and or whatnot. And man, I think here this is definitely
that's awesome.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
That's awesome. You gotta like somebody who's real gung ho about it and goes full tilt no matter what.
He's super. I wouldn't say he's cocky, but he's he knows where he stands as a fighter, and he's one of those guys like that when you kick him, he shakes his head no, like that didn't hurt him. And a lot of guys say that, but I actually believe him when he says that. The one fight that I did see this guy get some trouble in, if you watch the Ultimate Fighter Brazil, in an exhibition bout, he got wrestled pretty badly. He got out wrestled hard, and
this might go right into Johnny Hendricks' specialty here.
Yeah, exactly. But I think since then he's picked up the pace. He's a way better fighter, and I think his striking is just way too much. I think it's going to be way too much for Johnny Hendricks. We saw what Tim Boetsch did to Johnny Hendricks with that head kick. I think Borrachinha knocks him out pretty much the exact same way. So I'm all over Borrachinha here, as I got 5 units on him with somebody later in the card, but I'm all over Borrachinha here. How about you?
I got Borrachinha on this. I was mesmerized by a lot of his highlight videos, a lot of his fights. This guy's super scary. From his head kicks to his taunting to the pace he brings to the fight. People are real scared to even step forward on him when they're moving around. Stepping back seems to be the one thing that calms a lot of people down, and the only real thing that they can do. Johnny Hendricks taking a step forward is very dangerous in this fight.
Yeah.
And as a wrestler, you have to do that. Yeah, as a wrestler, you have to continuously press and try to go for those legs, try to go for the the weakness. And I think even if Johnny does have Borrachinha on the ground, it's going to be a tough time. And also, I mean, we don't even know if he can make weight. I hate to put
he missed weight his last fight.
I don't like to be a bit of a downer, especially on these fighters. These guys are tough people. But I mean, Johnny Hendricks has been having a big problem just training and preparing for these fights, getting down. It could be because he saw it as really cracking down on the steroids, and a lot of people just are not the same. I mean, it's the reality of it. A lot of these guys are either have to move up or get out,
and that's what he did too. That's the problem. Is this guy was, if you remember, man, he said that Dolce used to tell him, or I'm not even sure if it was Dolce, but someone used to tell him, Johnny, you can eat just the burger, not the fries, or something like that. Like while he was in camp, like he knows he's strict enough to eat just the burger, not the fries. Man, you should just not even be having the fucking burger.
Well, I heard they have to have people with him just to try to keep him off the stuff, and even the people with him are told, "Hey man, shut up, I'm eating here," or "Hey man, like I'm not listening to you."
And I wouldn't doubt it, man. This is a guy who missed weight in his last. Like, look how much he's missed.
1 in his last 5. That's
no,
it's rough.
3 in his last 4. He's missed weight. So he's missed weight, and he's 1 in his last 5 exactly.
In terms of wins, yeah.
One in his last 5. And that fight, if you see it, he was supposed to fight Tyron Woodley at 192. Hendricks weight cut issues.
It's sad to see, because this is a guy who gave guys like Carlos Condit, guys like GSP, who's on the card actually, problems. And these are top shelf.
A lot of people think he won the GSP fight.
I arguably think it was close, man. Yeah. And if you look at the end of the fight, I mean, if you really want to, from the outside looking in, kind of as a fan perspective, guys who might not fight all the time or might not know the fight game. I knew a lot of people at the bar who, after watching that fight, who were complete Johnny Hendricks fans after that.
Oh, 100%, man.
And we're here in Canada,
I think the real issue here is we're not sure where mentally Johnny Hendricks is. Moving up in weight at 180 to 185 his last time out against Hector Lombard. Looked good against Hector Lombard.
He did.
At 185. And then fights Tim Boetsch, misses weight at 185. It misses by 3 pounds. Well, 2 pounds because of the allowance. He weighed in at 188, which is just unbelievable. Like, that says it all. And ended up losing against Tim Boetsch. And if you're losing again, I'm not taking anything against Tim Boetsch, But if you're losing against them both and getting outstruck like that, you're going to get fucking mauled by Paulo Borrachinha.
I think Johnny was actually known for being a wrestler who can strike.
Yeah.
Especially on the stand-up.
He always had that overhand, the overhand right, the fucking...
Great at angles.
Cut angles very well, exactly. But yeah, we're both on Borrachinha here. I got 5 units on him with something later in the card. Next up, you know what I want to jump back to right here? You know who's somebody else who knocked out James Vick? Michael Chiesa. So he's 11-1, but if you go back and you watch it, I just wanted to bring that up quick.
How long ago was that?
That was on the Ultimate Fighter Live.
Okay.
So back in the day, that was probably like his fourth, he was very young in his career, but he did knock him out. It TKO'd him. Or it might have been a knockout. I just remember some serious ground and pound live. I just remember that fight. It just came to my memory right now. So.
I think as we were talking about, even in the entire card, a lot of guys coming into this game young, coming into this, the first few fights, you have a real high chance of losing.
Yeah.
That chance is extended, really. But as you kind of go up the ranks and as you take those losses, you can learn from it and really go on those win streaks that everybody likes to see. And I say it's better to lose early than to lose late. And I understand that you don't go in to lose. I get it. But you really have to get those learning moments out of the way first.
100%, yeah, 100%. And next up, man, is a fight I'm looking fucking super forward to.
Oh yeah.
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. This is a fucking war. I know my man Z's gonna complain with me later tonight because I'm actually on the round table tonight, guys. So if you're listening to this, what is it today? November 1st. If you're listening to this before 9 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I'm gonna be on the round table tonight with MMA Kelton and Rockstar Z breaking down UFC 217 again. And I just know Z has game ready here, so I can't wait to go head to head with him because I got Wonder Boy all day. And let me just tell you why. Wonder Boy, we saw a shell of himself his last time out 100%. When he fought Woodley in the second fight, it wasn't to his full potential. It was like more like he was fighting not to lose than to win. In the first fight, it was like more like he was fighting to win. I arguably thought he won the fight too. In the first Woodley fight. And then before that, man, his fights like against Johnny Hendricks, even his fight, if you go watch his fight against current interim middleweight champ Robert Whittaker, where he catches him with that that kick, or catches him with the fucking, what was it, a leaping right hand there.
Whittaker's been on a tear.
And Whittaker's been on. I know that's at once. That was at 170 and Whittaker's at 185 now, but man, that means something for sure.
Huge.
It means something. And then so like Thompson altogether, like not even I think what really put me on like the map with Thompson is he 50-45 Rory McDonald. One to simply not you don't get a unanimous 5-0 over the Red King Rory McDonald.
Actually, that's a guy who generally takes those decision wins.
100%.
Nate Diaz, even Carlos Condit, he was up on the cards before he lost.
100%. And even people think the Robbie Lawler fight, before he ended up getting stopped, right?
Yeah.
He was up on the cards.
That could really be up on for a debate there.
And then and people say, "Oh, Robbie changed his life and stuff." I tend to disagree. I think this guy's gonna look serious. He's gonna look good against Lima, but that's for another breakdown. But yeah, man, he beat Rory McDonald 50-45. That's a huge thing. Not 4 rounds to 1, not 3 rounds to 2. He beat him 5 rounds to 0 on 2 judges' scorecards. That's huge, man. And like he really outpointed him that whole fight. I'm not saying Jorge Masvidal is anywhere close to like Rory McDonald in terms of what he's gonna do, as Rory McDonald is going for Imanari rolls and shit like that, going for rolling heel hooks against Wonder Boy there. But Masvidal is gonna look probably to keep that pressure, keep that forward pressure coming, use his hands, use those leg kicks, but I don't think it's going to work against Thompson. I think Thompson's going to keep him at bay with his kicks, his sliding side kicks. Jorge Masvidal holds a very high guard when he's boxing, holds it pretty much right to his forehead. Elbow is very high and tight, keeps his body completely open for body kicks, which I think Stephen Thompson's going to be able to get off real quick. Stephen Thompson's movement something to behold, and I think he's going to move in and out of range very well and be able to crack Masvidal a couple times. We've seen Masvidal multiple times rock.
Even the Cerrone fight.
Yeah,
I think Cerrone did catch him quite a few times, a little early.
Yeah,
and then he did win that fight.
And then he ended up dropping Cerrone in the end of the first, and then finishing him in the second. But that's against the chinny Cerrone. Wonder Boys ain't chinny like that. This guy's actually got a motherfucking chin, Wonder Boy, and he's a very tough guy. If you see, sorry about that, guys. If you see his fight, even his fight against Jorge Masvidal, his fight against Cerrone, like I was saying, he's a little bit chinny. That's a guy who tends to break. Wonder Boy doesn't ever break. Wonder Boy is a guy who was deep in the guillotine in the Woodley fight and didn't submit. Got out of the guillotine. It's a very, very deep guillotine, guys. So I think Wonder Boy keeps him at distance here. I think there's no way like Masvidal really closes distance, and I see he's gonna pressure forward and stuff. But I think even if he tries to utilize his wrestling, I think Wonder Boy might be the better grappler, man, in terms of his wrestling. Not pure grappling, but for wrestling, he's a good wrestler, man. This guy was able to handle Woodley, right? So I think Woodley's a bit of a better grappler than Jorge Masvidal. Yeah. So if you can do that, man, he's only got one loss in his career, Wonder Boy, and it was to the champ. And I think he gets himself back in title contention with a win here. So I got 5 units on Wonder Boy at -160 to win 3.12 units. I'm very confident in that bet, guys. How about you, Gib?
Well, I really like Wonder Boy. Great utilization of karate, which I think is a bit of a sleeping martial art when it comes to the UFC. I mean, it does have its disadvantages. You're hopping a lot. By the 5th round, you do tend to get tired, which is why maybe it did lean a little more towards Tyron Woodley in both fights. But I think Stephen Thompson shouldn't have a problem with getting a lot of those early body kicks, like you said. Really being able to strike well with a guy like Jorge Masvidal. I mean, they're both around the same reach, both around the same height, so it'll be fair, at least in the sense of distance. But I think the kicks will keep him just safe enough that he'll be able to counter and be able to move around. Jorge Masvidal is going to have to do a lot of chasing in this fight just to push him up to a cage and maybe tie him up and dirty box him, bring him down to the floor, or do something to stop.
It's gonna be a lot of work.
He's got to really crack down on him and make sure that he can keep him in one spot and work from there. I still taking Wonder Boy on this, so it'll be a great fight though, and I still think it's very close too.
100%. I think it is closer than a lot of people expect. Like the odds yesterday was +160 for Masvidal. He's still at +155, and Thompson's at -175, which is a bit of a shocker. I thought it would be a little bit closer, but nevertheless, I do have Wonder Boy at like I said, what did I get him at? -160, 5 units. All right, so next up we got.
Here are the big fights here.
Yeah, here are the first of the 3 title fights right here. Joanna champion, you want a gangster, you wanted violence, you wanted the fucking boss. So you want violence versus Rose Thug Namajunas or Thug Rose. My bad, guys. But yeah, we got this one breaking down. So Joanna is just something else, guys. She everyone knows about her striking. She's probably the most fierce. I think she's the most deadly woman. Women's MMA fighter next to Cyborg. I think Cyborg's the For me, I think Cyborg's the killer. Like she's the pound for pound.
Yeah.
I think nobody can beat Cyborg. But Joanna is right up there with Cyborg, man. And the odd show you why.
I'm pretty sure Joanna actually said she wouldn't be very far from fighting her. She'd be completely game for Chris Cyborg.
Yeah,
I really interesting fight.
Yeah, I actually heard her
say size
say
difference is crazy.
I heard her say before she'd be ready for a super fight at 135.
Jeez.
And she said at 135, if that girl can make 135 ever in her life, she'd be ready for a super fight. I remember her saying that too, which is weird, but we know Cyborg will never make 135.
Well, I mean, with the weight she walks around at, it's just not possible.
But yeah, when Cyborg first came into the UFC, I remember her saying that. So the odds right now are -600 for Joanna Jedrzejczyk. -600.
I tend to agree with that.
And Rose is at +450. Simply put, man, I think Joanna just puts a fucking beat down on Rose. I think she outstrikes her completely. And I think Joanna actually gets her first finish in a while, man.
Really?
I think she finishes Rose here in the second or third round. I know Rose has got some slick jiu-jitsu. Only thing I'm a little bit worried about. But, man, it's not like Joanna's not faced people with good jiu-jitsu. She's faced the best of the best.
Well, she arguably faced one of the best wrestlers, and she took the title from her.
Yeah, exactly. Or Esparza.
Sorry, Carlos Esparza as well. Right before that.
And then she fought Jessica Penne. She fought Claudia Gadelha twice. Karolina Kowalkiewicz. So she's fought the who's who. Jessica Andrade. That was a great fight. She picked apart Andrade. So I see her doing the same thing here, picking apart Rose, and I see her actually getting a finish on Rose here in the second or third round. How about you?
Well, it's crazy thinking about that. When Rose came into the UFC, she came in through that Ultimate Fighter show when the strawweight division was just coming out, and she lost in, I believe, the finals, correct?
Yeah, to Carlos Esparza.
To Carlos Esparza. And after that, Joanna pretty much taking her out with very quick work and putting one of the arguably best wrestlers in the division at the time really deep in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, Rose had to really battle their way back up. Had to go through a lot of good fighters. Had to go through Paige Van Zandt. Had to go through Michelle Watterson. And those were great fights.
While Joanna was champ, you know. And, and Rose,
that was not a hard road for her to take, or that was not an easy road for her to take.
Yeah, and so like Joanna's battling exactly like you're saying, battling to the top through all these monsters, and Rose is battling back to the belt as well, battling back to the belt against all these, a lot of people give shit to Paige Van Zandt, but I don't think Paige Van Zandt's all that bad. I think
not at all.
And she's beating Michelle Watterson. She's beating like top quality opponents here. So she deserves her spot here 100%. I just think Joanna.
Oh yeah, I agree with you
I
on
have her
that.
all day here. So I got 5 units on Joanna and Borrachinha. That's who I have at -108 to win 4.61 units. Very confident. My most confident bet of the night, guys.
Oh yeah.
So you're with me on Joanna here?
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer.
All right. So next up we got Cody No Love Garbrandt at -175. Taking on TJ Dillashaw +155. And this is a fight a lot of people are almost everyone I know is on Cody Garbrandt. Pretty much everybody I know. That's betting wise. And I can see why. The guy's a money train, man. He's 11-0. He's I've been on him. I wasn't on him in the Dominic Cruz fight. Should have been, but before that I was on him in the Thomas Almeida fight, the Mizugaki fight, the fucking obviously the Brimage fight. All his fights pretty much leading up to the Dominic Cruz fight where he took the belt. I don't know why I hopped off the money train once he fought Cruz there. I have no idea, but I think Cruz fought down to Cody Garbrandt's ability, and Cody Garbrandt kind of fought up more than his ability that he could handle. Not that he can handle, but more than we were able to see from Cody Garbrandt. I'm pretty much saying that's not the usual Cody Garbrandt that we're gonna see all the time out. The one we saw against Dominic Cruz, that technical and whatnot.
I think that one's the big decider fight. I think a lot of people are deciding the decision, making their decision on that fight. And Cody Garbrandt is a very good pick if you want to base it off that.
Yeah, 100%.
It was one of their latest fights. Again, both guys they had to work on that fight. I mean, Dominic Cruz was not a breeze. It's either of them, and Cody Garbrandt got the win. But I mean, TJ really had to work, and he won by just one. He lost by just one round.
Yeah. That fight TJ against Cody, like you're saying. I thought TJ actually won the fight against not TJ against Cody, TJ against Dom.
Yeah.
I thought TJ actually won the fight against Dom. Split decision, or I'm not sure if it was a split, but I thought he won arguably. Even Dana White was saying in the back he thought TJ won or whatnot. The way TJ gets in and out of range with his strikes, the way he has a toolbox full of strikes and just anything he can use, he switches stances so much. So he's not always prone to shots, to takedowns as well. Takedowns defended are very well. It's 85. I think he's only been taken down once.
Yeah.
Once, maybe twice. And then, I know Cody's never been taken down, but I think we see the first time Cody's taken down here.
Yeah.
I think a big part of this fight's going to be the leg kicks of TJ Dillashaw, that we know the guys from Team Alpha Male don't like to check leg kicks as much. I think TJ's arsenal of striking and mixing up the takedown is going to be a lot for Cody to deal with. We've never seen Cody deal with grappling and striking for 5 rounds. We've seen him deal with striking for 5 rounds, and he looked all right. A lot of people said he had great cardio throughout the whole fight. I saw him a little bit slowing down at the end of the third, beginning of the fourth. I saw him slow down a little bit. Caught a second win, maybe in the 5th round there. And then we got TJ Dillashaw, who can easily go 5 rounds. He's a fucking monster. Great shape. The only X factor a lot of people are saying here is how about that tape again? You know, that where he got knocked out.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think that is legit? Do you think it happened?
I think it happened. I think it happened.
It's a bit of a rumor. I mean, you think maybe he dropped, maybe got up. Maybe,
no, I think
maybe it wasn't as a lot of people said it was. You know what I mean?
I forgot who's been shown it exactly. If it was Rogan or El Hawani, but one of them's been shown the actual video, and it's a real video, 100%.
Now, do you think they're gonna post it like a day before the fight, or like an hour before?
No,
or I think
Alpha Male has too much pride to do that. I think they would have done it already. Bucko said he would have did it already, but I do think that's just practice, man. I've been rocked in practice. You've been rocked in practice by guys lesser than us. You get that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Where you're having a bad day and someone's having a good day, or someone's having a really good day and you're just having an average day.
Hell, you can be having a great day and someone just comes in with one shot. Right?
Yeah, you can have the best day ever and someone can catch you with one shot and put you to fucking sleep.
Absolutely.
So who knows what happened? Who knows if he was getting light up the whole practice, or if it was a one strike sitch that put him to sleep there. But I'm going with TJ here, man. TJ's strikes are way too much for Cody. I think he's going to be able to utilize his stance switching very well. His jab and his right hand, I think he's going to be able to use very well. He's going to time takedowns off wild hooks of Cody Garbrandt, who leaves himself very open after striking. At times, I know Cody has some nice takedowns as well. We saw against Dominic Cruz and whatnot, but a guy like against TJ Dillashaw, I think, is a whole nother beast. I think this is the real fight that he's going to get from the I think this is not, the real fight. I think this is going to be the hardest fight Cody's ever had, and I think this is going to be the hardest fight TJ's ever had. But I think TJ is going to come out on top, and I think he just has way more tools, man, in the toolbox. Way more sharp tools. He has the takedowns. He has the wrestling. He has the jiu-jitsu. He has the leg kicks. He has the utilization of his kicks in general. He has the switching of stances. He has all that stuff, and the utilization of angles. He's just sparred with Vasyl Lomachenko.
And believe it or not, he has all that right under Dwayne Ludwig. You know,
Yeah.
A great person to organize all of those tools into a game plan that is going to give you a win, going to give you success in this fight.
Yeah, that's a great point there, Gib. Dwayne's one of the unsung heroes, I think, for coach-wise. So I do have TJ Dillashaw here. I had him at 135, 4 units, and then I added a unit. So I have a max bet on TJ Dillashaw. I had him at 135, and then I got him again at 155. 5 units, Dillashaw to win 6.95 units. I know this is a lot of max bets, this card, but I'm juiced about this card, guys, so don't give me shit. But, yeah, so lots of money on this card, but, yeah, 5 units, Dillashaw, plus 135 and plus 155 to win 6.95 units, guys. Very juiced, very confident. And I think this is going to be a good fight. I think this is going to be a fight of the night, maybe.
Absolutely.
Next up, we got our main event of the evening. We got the return of George Rush St. Pierre, man, the 4-year layoff, coming back and facing Michael the Count Bisping, the middleweight champ. When this fight got announced, I was a little hesitant. I was like, the fuck's going on here? You know, like, he's fighting, like, at middleweight now, like, he's not. I thought he was talking about going down to 155. And then now he's going up to 185. So we've seen that he's moving up and whatnot. We've never seen him fight at 185. We've seen him fight at 170. Obviously, he was the king of 170 for so long. We see him time his takedowns and everything. George St. Pierre's a fucking animal. But to go against a guy like Michael Bisping is a whole nother animal. Michael Bisping's huge, has great cardio, has great boxing, and can go 5 rounds. He's a big middleweight, like I'm saying. And George St. Pierre is a small middleweight. So I think that's an advantage for Michael Bisping. But George St. Pierre's timing on his takedowns is unbelievable. His point karate is very good. And I think the layoff's a little bit too much for a bet for me, because that's why I'm passing completely off on the layoff part of this fight. But yeah, I think George St. Pierre, man, has a chance here to win this fight. A lot of people are counting him out, and I can see why. But you know what? I'm gonna go with the upset here, and I'm gonna take George St. Pierre. Yeah.
I've been flip flopping on this one. From gym discussions about it to me just watching the embedded series, keeping up with the UFC previews. This is a really tough one to pick. I'm going for Bisping just based off of activity. I like to stay with guys who are active. I like to stay with guys who are kind of on their game. I don't know how much activity, in terms of dangerous activity that Bisping has been a part of that might come into play. I mean, a lot of his fights and scraps are a little rough in there. From his Anderson fight on, he had some pretty big wars even with Henderson. George could just land one good shot and maybe even half-heartedly and put Bisping down, right? He's got that eye problem as well, and it's sad to say, but I mean it does happen. I mean we saw Robbie Lawler get taken out by Tyron Woodley very easily. Guys just get hit on the button, and people who've been through wars tend to not take that shot as well as other guys. I definitely still want to stay with Michael Bisping. I'd like him to win this last fight. I'm not sure, is he going to retire after this, or is he thinking about fighting maybe 2 or 3 more times?
I think he said he's going to fight. Well, like they announced yesterday that the UFC is actually going to Perth in 221, so that's in Australia.
Interesting.
So they said the winner of this fight is going to fight Whitaker in Australia. 221.
Now Whitaker's one of my big fighters.
I favor
especially
Whitaker.
In that division.
Yeah, I favor Whitaker whoever he fights out of these two. But if we're going off these two, man, I think George steals a couple rounds with wrestling. I'm not confident in this pick at all. I have 2.8 units on the over to win 2 units at minus 140. But and I got 4 units also on the over rounds for Masvidal and Wonderboy. I think it goes over 2.5 rounds. 4 units on the over, and Cutelaba at minus 131 to win 3.05 units. I'll go over all the bets after, but like I was saying, man, if St. Pierre can time these takedowns, I think it's gonna take him a round or two, obviously, to get used to it. But if he can time these takedowns, I think he might be able to slide out and get the win. So I did pick him on DK, man. I grabbed him on DraftKings 100%. But this is a tough fight for me to pick. I'm siding. I'm Canadian, man. I'm not going against my blood right here.
Yeah,
and I got the George St. Pierre sweater right over there.
Perfect. It's all ready to go.
Yeah, so I'm with George St. Pierre, man, all day. And you're with Bisping, so.
Yeah, I think I gotta go with Bisping on this. I mean, I don't know how long he's gonna be in this sport for, and I just want to pick him before anything happens. I really wish him the best, and I think he's a very impressive striker.
Do you think he's going to be able to deal with George's takedowns?
I think maybe being out of the UFC could change George St. Pierre's approach to the takedown in general. The UFC is a little bit of a different place since GSP left. From the USADA to just the style that everybody goes in these fights with. And I'm not sure if maybe Michael Bisping isn't able to adapt to it. I mean, he obviously took out a Luke Rockhold that was younger and already up on a win for him. So I think that's very impressive. And I'm really counting on a top Michael Bisping showing up and showing George St. Pierre that this is a different game. And I'm in this. And, this is something that I'm keeping. This is about that I care about. 100%. It's funny that actually Michael Bisping's son, who he asks before he fights,
always says the other guy.
He always says the other opponent. But for the first time ever, he says Michael Bisping's gonna win because he doesn't like George St. Pierre's name. That's gonna be interesting.
That was the best. So, it's like, I don't like his name. Yeah, that was actually a fucking joke.
So if you stay with his son's probably better predictions than most analysts.
Yeah.
George St. Pierre is the guy to bet on.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, if you're feeding your son all the time, it looks like St. Pierre might be the guy to bet on. So yeah, exactly. But man, you have to go over these bets.
Might be the unintentional Nostradamus.
Just go over these bets super quick. Again, we got 5 units on JJ Borrachinha, minus 108 to win 4.61 units. 5 units on Dillashaw, plus 135 and plus 155 to win 6.95 units. 5 units Wonderboy, minus 160 to win 3.12 units. 5 units Randy Brown at minus 128 and minus 117 to win 3.97 units. 4 units over 2.5 rounds. Wonderboy Masvidal Cutelaba minus 131 to win 3.05 units. 2.8 units over 4.5 rounds. GSP Bisping minus 140 to win 2 units. 4 units Duffy minus 176 to win 2.27 units. 2.5 units over 1.5 rounds. Minus 165 Duffy and Vick to win 1.51 units. And then I took the 10-leg long shot parlay. 0.5 to win 8.92 units, but 18.92 units actually, guys. It's a big parlay, but yeah, man, fucking looking forward to this event. I had a good time breaking it down with you, my boy. It's always gonna be breaking down the next one. UFC. No, don't worry. Next one's UFC Norfolk. It's next week. We got Dustin Poirier versus Anthony Pettis.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we got the retirement fight actually of Matt Brown versus Diego Sanchez at 170, which is a fight I'm interested about. Yeah,
that's a barn burner.
Some good fights, man. Some good fights. Joe Lozon versus Clay Guida. Rafael Sunsao is on that card versus Matthew Lopez. You got Marlon Moraes versus John Dodson. It's just a great card. So we're gonna have fun breaking down that card next week. Me and Gib, 100%. But till then, man, everyone enjoy your enjoy this card and whatnot. Let's cash these motherfucking bets. Let's go.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
100. Easy Gib. Easy boys.
How's it going,
Have a
guys?
good one.